the journey. You know those ants that teach you that they form long chain. They can come from this side like this. You know, go like this, come down. Before you know, maybe it's because of that sugar at that corner. If you trace it, you will see that they're actually going there. In their numbers, 100. If you bring kerosene here, what do you think will happen? If they are taking this, people, if they are coming from, say from the kitchen or from that restaurant,
they will deviate.
Thank you. Their mind is not all that sugar. First, what you see is confusion. They become scattered. Boa. After some time, you see them take another course. They may change from here, maybe down to this side. And if you notice, while some are going, some are returning. I'm not going to say that. Why is that?
Communication.
Thank you. Communication. Sometimes you see, sometimes they appear as though they collide. When this one is going like this, another will come back, they hit. Tell you that, okay, you're on the right track. Communication. So if we VUCA as an organization, you don't see it. Communication. To keep, yes, so we're on the right track. Because the moment the people are going right and there's no feedback to say, yes, we just come from that place. There's bound to be fear. So you as leaders, you are bound to keep communicating with your downliners. The people that report to you to say, yes, we understand. As a matter of fact, there are some complaints that brought to your table. Now you two have passed to the management forward because at this middle point here, right? You are very critical. Whatever challenge these guys are facing, it's your responsibility here to pass it to the top. Because management do not see the guys. Right? So if they tell you 10 information, example is even our bill I talked about Fabio and Lume. They are presented to be able to tell them right what's happening so that the government can make adjustments. So if they bring 10 complaints and after you sieve, you scrutinize, you only have left with 7, and by chance, whether negative, you only pass 3 to the top. What change do you think will happen? They can only have the ability to work on what? On the 3, if not even 2. So this is where the problem is. They are not fully representing the pains or the guys or the people. So the social plan I'm putting overwhelmed team members because everybody begins to say, where are we going? You know, tax has changed, priority has changed, you know, impact on projects and timelines. Timeline that you already say, okay, during 2020, because if you remember 2019, even the religious sector was more of 2020, year of double portion. 2020, year of double something. Everybody was saying double because it looked like 20 and 20, right? Nobody saw that was a year of chaos.
The year of double portion.
I've never seen any church that will say 20 something, year of FUCA.
Nobody will say year of FUCA, never.
It will be year of playing.
It was year of increase. But the guy is everything.
But the one you don't go to that church.
You know, nobody will say year of FUCA, never. So the people who are saying year of double this, testimony, double children, double promotion, what happened? Anyway, let's not go into that. But of course, I'm not controversy, all right? So impact on projects and timelines. Something you say, because usually, exactly, October, November, December, last quarter of the year is when you usually plan for the next year. I'm sure by this time, you already submitted reports for budget for next year, for training, for travels, for project implementation. We can't get everything down. And by last week in November, max first week in December, you are having your final, decision on that, so that we are getting, because you are not planning for the year, you are kind of planning for the year before getting into the year. So that's relativity, okay? So our response to that should be what? Adaptability. Encourage members to be flexible and adaptable to change. Even in our policy, our politics, if you want to supplement what? Budget, right? To say, as we move on, these are the things that now came, big provision for this, so that when the project funds get adjusted, these are the things that we need to have to, regular communication. You see that? You have to come, like what you said, the scenario. Communication. Risk assessment. So today, let me ask, what is the job of the management for the business? Top management, I mean. What's the job?
Final decision.
Develop strategy.
Strategy, correct?
Identify the risk.
Exactly.
And evaluate the risk.
Exactly, one of them.
But the evaluator is not different, not even see the risk, it's only to
No,
evaluate.
you don't evaluate without identifying. First is risk identification.
You identify, yes.
And then now you evaluate.
You don't evaluate to say, okay, which one has less impact, or which one has high impact, which is high severity or mid or low severity. Okay? Because see, my mind cannot function without you at the center, because this is where you can see the process you occupy. If there's a pain point, right? Sometimes management take decision, especially when it comes to finance. If the entire workforce costs the company on a monthly basis, say 30 million or say 70 million, I'm talking maybe a region, I'm not the entire. And then I say that, okay, with this what is happening, our profit margin has shrunk. This has happened, this has affected our demand and supply and all that. Please reduce your team members. They are doing that because they have a view to the financial performance. And because of that, that's what you said, that they told you, I say, guys, go and shrink. Don't let that affect your deliverables and productivity. So it is you that now say, okay, somebody that was wearing one hat before or 0 hats, please add somebody's hat because somebody has to leave. Put it on. It is so those are the measures that happen in between. Uncertainty, role ambiguity happens, right? Decision making is also a challenge. Goal ambiguity. So you don't know. Sometimes you see somebody reporting to you and saying that okay, on this note, can you quickly just suspend from that and quickly pay attention to the get me a report out of this? But you say, oh God, but that's not my role. There's nothing like that today. Because if you're not VUCA in code oriented, you're not able to manage the current generation of resources. So the current generation of resources are wide open, they're versatile. And if you don't drive them to encode VUCA, to be VUCA conscious, they are winning until they become underutilized. Those times you say, oh God, this is not my job now, this is not my job function. But today you have to encourage people to say, it's not your job function, but it's also a learning for you in your career. Alright, so you have to be able to drive that. Strategies for that is what? Tools for informed decision. For strategy, role clarity. Yes, some things may not be contained officially in your JD. However, if it is less impact, you have to take on the responsibility. If it's not going to deviate you or take away from your core responsibility with which will be measured in terms of KPI, they have to still get it done. Alright, so you must have, I'm sure you want to called 6 hats, right? The 6 hats principle under the problem solving. So you have to do different hats at different time. That is not confusion. That is what is required in the VUCA world, where you're able to think on the spot and address issues. And then goal setting and communication is also very, because when things are not certain, you have to say, on this particular project, what you have to get for me is this report. Meet with operations team on a daily basis, speak to the vendors on this, get me this report out, attend this meeting, clear. Okay, weekly meetings or weekly reports, I want this. But before that time, let's try to have 15 minutes on a weekly basis. On a Tuesday, 2 to 3 p.m., let's review the observation you saw last week. Detailed goal setting and communication. Very important. Now, for impact or complexity, coordination challenge, exactly. When they are too complex, sometimes you pass, it's not even about you. Sometimes even the manager passes instruction to you that you feel like, oh, this is not clear, I don't understand. And you have to debate it. Not because you want to put them with another body, but for clarity. Okay? Next is problem solving difficulties. I'm going to set an example called 5 whys. 5 whys is one of those problem solving tools and decision making tools. 5 whys, an example is this. Watch. Good, this marker thing. So we ran out of the marker, and then if he was not able to provide this, and I'm saying that, okay, in the meeting, you guys now go to the report, objectively about the training and say there was no marker. So PCL internally, fully consulted, I said, okay, why was there no marker provided for that training? I'm the one asking the likes of JC and the likes of them. Why? That's what he said, and because it has to be, I'm saying, why? So this is why 5 whys means when every response that comes, you put a why to it. And this is called root cause analysis. RCA. So I asked a question, why was there no marker? So Jesus says, the last person used it yesterday. Or that's the last one. That response, okay, I put a why to it and say, why? Was it just one? Then I will assign that task to maybe somebody else. Go and find out why it was one. So when it's one left, okay, question is, did you not make provision for 10 for the week? And somebody say, no, the supplier did something. That supplier did not supply. I would assign that and say, why did the supplier? So for every response that come out, to put a Y to it. The techniques is that before you get to your 50Y, you would have seen the root cause of the problem. Do you understand? So every response, you put a Y to it. But not just putting a Y for no. So for every response, you assign the task to another person, but you dig deep. So root cause analysis for 5 Ws. There's also the fishbone diagram. There's this guy there. There's a lot. All right. So basically, it's problem solving frameworks. Exactly. Equip things with problem solving frameworks and methodology tailored for complex. So when something is complex, see, more than ever, this season we are in, it's a season where you must ask questions. You must encourage conversations. Those times you say, no, obey before. Yeah. I give instruction, you follow. Instructions today can also be questioned. Yeah, you have to like get something done. But dissecting this instruction on Roman figure A Roman figure 2, if the provision is not made at the top, I can't get this done. So as a leader today, those times you say, just get, I don't have time for this. You have to have time. However, not for agreement. Okay? Very important. All right? Enhancing vision strategy, exactly. Ambiguity, communication challenges, morale, and engagement decision. So of course, communication, when something is ambiguous, it's communication. Be clear about it. All right? And this is not about hearsay, he says, no. He told me, he mentioned. No. No, corporate environment must be what? Written communication for evidence. Even if I have a conversation with Mr. Oblo, right? And I say, okay, we said, for example, we said that we're supposed to have our break after I finish the first 3 modules. We all agree, isn't it? But when he came in and said, we're supposed to have our tea break now. If I told him and said, but we agreed here with ourselves to say we'll have it after 3 modules. And he said, that's not true. What's the evidence?
Integrity becomes evidence.
He doesn't know me. He doesn't know me.
Integrity? What is the definition of integrity?
He doesn't know me.
These days, what is integrity? It is nothing. It is nothing.
So I was able to provide. If we agreed on that, I would say, okay, on this date, 17th or 18th of October, VUCA training, participants, Mr. Oblo, Mr. Steve, Mr. Basil, and then Mr. Ona, participants are going to meet the facilitator, writing that blah, 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 blah. Sign everybody. I put that. So when that happen, I say, okay, why do you guys come out? Where you go? But this is what. Oh, really? That can't be true. They know what the rule already. I do what? I tender it.
I'm not sure. This is not the reason of this VUCA because business I used to know
Yes.
on beds on trust and it was faster. But that you are going through, you must sign, you must use your normal trust in business.
Let me say this. We evolve every day.
Yeah.
Human beings evolve. That's why I asked the question we started. Last 5 years. You know, you're doing some things. Today, you don't do them. Because of external forces, environmental change. So you adjust. Things have made people take decisions that they never have thought about that way.
Yeah.
Or take.
Yeah.